Welcome to this presentation on new legislation on parental alienation in Denmark. What I'll go through tonight is the background for the Danish reform, what has been the positives in the last decade, the new legislation that we have seen started on 1st of January 2025 on parental alienation, the top 5 focus for our work in 2025, and also the top five on how did this happen. Last, there will be questions and answers from about 15 to 20 countries participating tonight. Looking first at the Danish law reform, the positives in the last decade, we in 2007 experienced shared parenting was the norm in society. Shared parenting or shared legal custody was decided by law, and spousal support in general declined and reasonable child support cost. In 2012, shared parenting was the basic assumption by law. Children's rights had the right to both parents, and children's transportation was the responsibility of both parents. In 2015, we saw the first parental alienation or harassment package, where we introduced automatic revisitation, holiday restrictions, and meeting obligations, and also immediate contact. We were involved in the Council of Europe Resolution 2079. In 2019, new family court system was created with green, yellow, and red visitation of all children cases. We closed the original state administration on all members, all employees were fired for this new family court system. We introduced double residence was possible in agreement by the parents. Family mediation in the children unit was looking after the children, doing interviews with the children, and each child had a contact person that if the child was involved in the family court system. Contact person will follow them all through the case. We also have collaboration courses and children support groups. And in 2019, we also introduced psychological violence, and that included parental alienation by law. In 2022, we introduced public information for both parents decided by law, and also the first children allowance was divided 50-50 by law. Even if the father and mother are living together today, the largest child allowance by the state is divided 50% for the father and 50% for the mother as the basic assumption. In 2023, we saw the introduction of the parental leave 50-50 with at least 3 months earmarked per parent. We have in Denmark 12 months of paternity leave, and 50% is given to the father and 50% to the mother as the basic assumption. We also in 2023 saw family violence and crisis center being gender equal by law. So what was normally known to be the protection and support for women in crisis center today apply for both gender equally. And then in 2024, 2025, we've seen that equal parenting time 50-50 is the fastest growing and mostly used in society. And we have introduced new legislation on harassment and parental alienation. So the family court system looks like this. We have the family courthouse, which is a state administration, and they will visitate and screen all children cases. All cases are divided into a green, yellow, or red case. The green is where the parents collaborate, yellow is where they have some minor disagreements, and red is where there is concern for the child. The family courthouse will visitate and start to work on all the cases, and there will be an immediate handling of the case within a 4-week deadline. We have mediation, conflict, and collaboration in children groups. We have the children unit that looks after the children, contact persons for each of the children. And if there is a severe case, or it's a question about custody, residence, or major change for the child, we will handle that case and hand it over to the family court, that will take court decisions. So the key challenge today in Denmark is two things. We do see that in society, more than 60% of the parents and the children are using equal parenting time, 50-50. But if you go into the family court system, we definitely see that it's a cultural aspect there. 68% of the fathers, this is a survey where we have asked 1,200 fathers experiencing the family court system, and 68% of these fathers would like to have 50-50, but only 9% gets it in the family court system. We also see that 30% of the fathers stated that they have fully lost contact with their child, but only 1% would like that. So that's definitely where we today still have a key challenge that due to parental alienation or responsibility by parents, it can be a number of reasons, then we do see the challenge that fathers who would like, or parents that would like 50-50 simply don't get it. And we also see that a lot are losing contact with their children. So the new legislation that has been introduced and that has already started on January 1st, 2025, is stating that parental alienation shall have effect in all family court decisions. The Parliament has clearly emphasized that parental alienation is not allowed and stated that parental alienation is a reality in society. The child has the right for both parents, and immediate contact shall be secured for the child within 4 weeks. Only if this is not possible and there needs to be examinations, these shall be done within a maximum of 4 months. Then a temporary decision shall be made by the courthouse. So decision will be based on the child behavior and the best interest of the child. So this is just the latest changes we have on parental alienation in the new law in Denmark. So what we have done in Denmark is that we have actually created 3 different legal reforms on parental alienation. The first we created was in 2015, where we have what we call a harassment package, where there was meeting obligations, automatic revisitation if there was obstruction of visitation, immediate contact, and holiday restrictions, so that the residential parent, which in 87% of the cases in Denmark is the mother, only can have claim holiday in the public school holidays. In 2019, we created the second reform, which was the new family courts. The state administration was closed and everyone lost the job. New family courthouses, like I mentioned, was visiting all cases into green, yellow, and red children cases, which is definitely a recommendation for other countries. A special children unit offering all children a contact person, and children groups, mediation, and collaboration courses was the reality. And also psychological violence was part of the criminal law, also stating that parental alienation was psychological violence. And then in 2025, we've seen that emphasized that children has the right to both parents. Parental alienation shall have effect on family court decisions, immediate contact within maximum of 4 weeks, all investigations within maximum of 4 months. Child behavior and best interest will be considered short and long term. And this new reform is funded currently 150 million to 130 million DK for parental alienation courses, supervised contact in the homes, and other initiatives. So every employee working in the family courthouse will, within 2015 to 2027, receive courses on parental alienation. If we look at the definitions that we use on parental alienation in the family court system in Denmark, these are the 2 most important definitions. We have, on one hand, parental alienation as decided by the Danish Parliament. The definition of parental alienation, parental hostility, is when a child consistently and over a long period of time expresses strong negative emotions, hatred, rage, fear towards one parent that are not consistent with the child's actual experience with that parent. So that is what the family law is stating and using as the definition. If it's severe parental alienation, it is regarded as psychological violence, and then criminal law, item 243, applies. And that states that any person who belongs to or in close association with another person's household, or has previously had such an association with the household, and who repeatedly over a period subjects the other person to grossly degrading, harassing, or offensive behavior that is capable of improperly controlling the other person, including by exercising negative social control, shall be punished for psychological violence by fine or imprisoned for up to 3 years. This is the two definitions. The criminal law is handled by the police. The parental alienation in family law is handled by the family courthouse and the family courts. So if we look at the top 5 focuses in the new law in 2025, we believe that it's important that family court decisions by judges must change and will change and use the new law. But the law will not work unless this happens. Family courthouse management must change a lot of procedures and provide education on parental alienation for all caseworker and children professionals. We will, for our part, have meetings and provide recommendations in the Family Courthouse Advisory Board and secure press releases to push the new legislation further about parental alienation implementation. We also have meeting one-to-one with management at the Family Courthouse to explain to them the patterns of parental alienation and come up with recommendation on where they should focus their current activities. We have created in our organizations parental alienation therapy groups where we get 8 parents together for 8 weeks, supported by therapy coaches, and that has been funded by the Danish Gender Equality Ministry. We call it Take It Project, and you can see it on worldparents.org/take it. We are currently offering these courses for free in Denmark, but we are also happy to support English-speaking courses or local language courses in countries and organizations that want to use it in their countries. From our part, it's based on funding or it's based on social economic activities. So it's courses for parental alienated parents that has a very low cost or cheap or free. And of course, we will also in 2025 push for parental alienation surveys, statistics, and research. So keeping on the focus on pushing parental alienation is an important part of this new legislation. If judges and the family courthouses does not take the law into their hands and management, we will of course not see a change. But we do believe, because it's the third way on parental alienation reforms, that that is helping to send a very clear political signal that parental alienation is something we should realize is part of our society and it has to be taken seriously. Our recommendations for the family courthouse is recommendations you see on the screen now. So, of course, children's right to both parents and respect of family life should be the basic assumption. Equal parenting time also should be a basic assumption and will secure many of these cases. The best interest of the child is important that we look at this from a short and long-term perspective. Early prevention of mild and medium level of parental alienation needs to be in focus to avoid the serious cases. We need simple application forms which focus on positive cooperation, which is 95% of the cases, and not violence cases as done today, which is 1 to 5% of the children cases. We need to investigate and make sure there's consequences for false accusation of psychological violence. We need to investigate and make sure there's consequences on false crisis center reports. We need to investigate the parent's social health and criminal history before temporary decision, and that's both parents, both the father and mother, because there normally will be a clear pattern in the behavior on parental alienation. We need to see a significant effort to reunite children and parents that has lost contact. Also, the education in shared parenting benefits, discrimination and parental alienation is of course needed in the legal family court system. We need to have legal assistance and free proceedings in children cases for both parents, not only one parent. If one parent received it, it's important that both parents get that. And then we of course need to improve quality assurance with statistics on all decisions, and maybe even go to the point where all meetings are being recorded to make sure that everything is documented. The new legislation on parental alienation is a clear signal to Danish politicians and ministries that residence and non-residential legislation is direct discrimination against parents and indirect discrimination against fathers, and we cannot allow that in society. So how did this happen? From what we see today is that the top 5 reasons for this being possible to introduce parental alienation law in Denmark is that gender equality in society is of course one of the highest levels in the world. We know that the Nordic region has the highest level of gender equality in all parts of the world. So 60% in society in 2-home families are currently using equal parenting time, making this obvious that it has to be the basic assumption about shared parenting in the Danish legislation. What we have done is that we have made a very clear media strategy. We have presented weekly press releases like a one-pager on cases, statistics, and positive recommendations for shared parents on a weekly basis for all Parliament members, ministries, courts, and local governments by the Danish Father Association in the public interest. It is the media strategy that we believe have worked and has been the only way to get it to work. First year we used that media strategy, nothing happened. But after about 1 to 2 years, journalists started to look at the different contents and saying, well, there might be a lot of stories in this, and they started to create more articles, more podcasts, more television program, more documentary series, even reality shows on the parental alienation and shared parenting issues. We also very easily created parental surveys on shared parenting and parental alienation, where we have responses between 1,500 parents. The politicians will listen if they are presented with a survey or statement by 1,000 women, and of course they have to do the same if we present them with statements or surveys with clear patterns from 1,000 to even 5,000 fathers or shared parents. So political votes and ethics was also an important part of this due to a very large number of complaints in the family court system and society of discrimination against fathers. This is public knowledge that this happens in our society today based on 60% levels of gender equality. So together with media strategy and the parental surveys, of course this has pushed politicians that suddenly we experience that politicians and ministerial awareness and they have the will to change. And the last thing I will mention is that on August 8, 2023, we have pushed into court the largest human rights case seen against Denmark, and probably any country, on shared parenting as the basic assumption. We have gone through the law and we have selected 12 themes and 366 items in the law where we can see and prove and document that shared parents and also indirectly fathers are being discriminated in today's family law. We are working with a team of lawyers that has shortlisted 25 of these most important items, and they've taken the Danish government, the Prime Minister office, to court, which is a court case currently going on. We're right now in January 2025 waiting on the Supreme Court that will make an initial decision on how to start this case and whether its principal relation to society. We do get a lot of questions about, well, what happened with the women lobby when introducing the parental alienation legislation in the Danish law. First of all, when we talk about the women lobby, we think it's important to realize that you cannot walk into a wall. You have to go around it or jump over it. Yes, the women lobby, women violence lobby, also this time tried to create fear and political chaos and misinformation, as they often do or always do every time there's new legislation for all children, parents, and society or fathers misusing their historical and cultural power. But if 10 to 30% of children in a country, depending on which country we look at, have lost contact to a parent, it is not serious to go against law reforms like this. It's not serious to start a word on the war, or a war on the word parental alienation, as they have tried this time with the women violence lobby. The women lobby has clearly inserted their own special rapporteur at the UN, and this is not an opinion by the UN. The Rimsalam report is an ethical, moral, and academic problem for the UN. In the case of Denmark, only the Women Crisis Centers Association was used in the report as reference. They have a standard declaration stating all men are violent and all women are victims. They have never spoken to the men and do not have any insights into the social, health, and criminal records of the women, even though they're using this standard declaration. Everyone knows in Denmark today that they are not reliable, and this is well known by judges, authorities, lawyers, and professionals in Denmark. Therefore, it was very easy to state that the Rimsalam Special Rapporteur report was simply not on a serious and professional level. And we have to say that if Grevio or Women Lobby wants to be taken seriously, they must secure a whole new level of professional, ethical, and moral standards and show true leadership in respect of all people. If not, everyone stated by the convention need to secure the best interest of the child and not listen to Grevio and the women lobby. We also had a very big scandal involving the women organizations in Denmark indirectly. Following the money analysis was made of annual accounts of the main children, women, and men organizations. And that resulted in state accountants finding 5.8 billion, almost 1 billion euros per year had been provided for decades in what was found as secret funds, mainly to the women organization. This is an illegal practice by the ministries, but that was apparently how many of the women organizations has obtained major funding. As part of that scandal, the leading female manager from the ministry was found to have taken even more than 100 million to herself. There was simply no control, and there has been no control with major funds related to 1 billion we can see in gender equality, social work, and also cultural ministry in Denmark. We can see that women organizations, social women organizations working within gender equality is some of the organizations that has received this money. This is a ministerial problem, and it has been changed today, but is part of a culture. So what's ahead in the future for us? in 2020 and 2025 and up to the UN global goals in 2030. We will keep on media strategy, and we recommend that in each country, that is the process ahead. Make a press release every week or every month on a subject, on a case, on statistic, on a recommendation, because things are as bad as they are for shared parents and for parental alienated children and parents, that be men or women. Of course, that needs to be provided into the open. We have committed the Supreme Court, which is the human rights case against Denmark on shared parenting, and we of course have to see what's going on with that next in the Supreme Court. We have created the Take It As a Man and Take It As a Woman parental therapy groups, where we are helping parental alienated parents. We also will look into reunification programs and currently have been funding these projects for 2025 to 2027. So the projects will go on for the next 3 years. We very much appreciate and respect the Nordic and international networking and collaboration we have on research and surveys with some of the leading children researchers around the world and the Nordic countries. Organizations like ICSP and PASC has definitely assisted us and been a major part, an important part of our work on legal reforms. We will push UN Global Goals number 3 on health and well-being, and also goal number 5 on gender equality related to both gender, not only women. We expect to push Council of Europe Resolution 2079 on equality, not only in Denmark, but also in the Nordic and internationally. And then we do also expect that we within the next year or maybe 2 years, we'll see the first joint legal actions against family courthouses and crisis centers for discrimination and false accusations in children cases related mainly to parental alienation. So we see in general a lot of positives in Denmark. We do have legal reforms, and I do believe that the equality in society combined with media strategy has been the big movers ahead on the legal reforms. It's a question about finding the 3 things that creates value using the slightest amount of resources. You could say that we are living in a shared parenting world with a single parenting law, and of course that has to change and will change. I have no doubt that we will all succeed in this area because that is what the children need, that's what society requires. You cannot have family law and practices today that are generally unful. If you want more information on this, the analysis of the Danish family law has been put into a brief list that we put available on Amazon.com. If you have a Kindle license, it's free to use. There's a low price in that catalog. But there you can see the 12 different themes that we went through in Danish law, and the 366 items that we selected and I analyzed was not equal in the Danish family law. We also provide basic principles on how to create a modern shared parenting law based on 3 general principles and 10 specific items. You are welcome to connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course you're able to get our materials either from the worldparents.org website or if it's published from Amazon, both in digital version or publications. Together with our Nordic colleagues, we have recently launched the Nordic Fathers Survey, which is one of the largest surveys on shared parents and fathers related to the UN Global Goals. 3,500 fathers, Nordic fathers, has been asked about gender equality in children and family life, and we have comparison between the countries and also the consequences and effect if there's a lack of gender equality. We do believe in our work that it's important that we protect women and we protect men and we protect children, that being girls or boys. We are in a society where women will have increased equality in education and work, and we definitely support that. We believe and are true believers on women's rights. However, if that is the situation and we want to create a gender equality for women in education and work life, we also need to make sure that men and fathers has the same kind of rights in family life. Else, the children will be the losers in this, because there needs to be a balance between work and family life. But please look at that report also together with our colleagues in the new Nordic organizations. It's also available on Amazon. And if you have parents that needs to be supported, or you have organizations on a larger scale that want to roll out the Take It parental groups, you are of course also welcome to just be part of our groups or to contact us about the concept. It is a new international project. We call it Take It as a man or Take It as a woman. It's 8 weeks where 8 parents meet for 3 hours per week and discuss the experiences with parental alienation and lost contact, or difficult divorces, long processing times, to make sure that they talk about it openly and together with other parents that has the same experience. We have the courses available in Danish, but it's also online with therapists in English or local languages. It's talks, it's coaching, therapy, and it's just a great community where there's definitely positive results in the parents that goes through these 8 weeks. Look it up on worldparents.org and take it. And this was all for me. Thank you very much for tonight.